You are now listening to Mike's Opinion, Logic Unleashed.
Worldwide pandemics, lockdowns, stock markets aflutter. Everything seems disastrous. Is it the end of the world? No. You want to know how I know? I'll tell you. All you have to do is listen. Guess what? You are listening, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. All over the world, and it's only been 10 days since I launched. United States, Australia, Germany, Brazil, Colombia, the UK, worldwide. And hey, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for listening to Mike's Opinion. I am Mike, and this is my Corona Part 2. If you listen to Part 1, you may hear some things you heard there before, but most likely not. I am doing a Corona episode, another one, in fact, because I'm here, I'm trying to help. I am trying to help. And one of the things that I'm definitely going to do that I did in the first one is breathing. So that's the only thing I really can give you as a tool to weather this storm. Because people are panicking, people are freaking out, and I understand. But this is not the end of the world. Is not. And I can tell you with certainty how I know. You want to know how I know? We have been here before. We've been here before. Now I did mention this in my Corona Part 1, but other plagues have happened. Okay? Plagues, viruses, pandemics, epidemics that have killed tens of millions of people in a matter of just a few years. As of today, and today is the 2nd day of April, coronavirus cases worldwide are 937,000, just over 937,000, with 47,000 deaths. Actually, 47,267 deaths. Tragic. Listen to my death episode and you understand how I feel about death. I'm not cold about it, but it is a fact of life. Hakuna Matata. The circle of life is real, and it's going to come for all of us. However, those of us that lose loved ones in an unexpected pandemic, anytime death is unexpected, it's horrible, right? Even if it is expected, and they're on their deathbed, as people say, it's horrible. It's horrible. Losing a loved one or someone you care about is heartbreaking. It's saddening. It's It's terrible. It's terrible for many reasons. One, we do not know what really happens. Like, now, your faith, what you choose to believe in, may make you think you know what's going to happen. Okay? Some people believe in heaven and hell. Some people believe if you do certain actions before you die, you're going to get 72 versions. Some people think you're going to catch a comet and go to the next life. Some people believe that you come back as an ant or a human. It doesn't matter. What you believe, what you choose to believe. And there's another episode I'm working on now just based on belief. But what you choose to believe is no guarantee to what actually may transpire once we cross over, as some people say. We don't know. Nobody really knows for sure. Even those that have had what I call death U-turns. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people call them near-death experiences. I call them death U-turns. Because it's not a near-death experience. They actually died and they U-turned, made it, and came back to the living. And they say they've seen the light. Or they've seen people. Or they've seen things, right? They felt the warmth. They felt the love. I hope that's real. Because I want the love. Can I get the love? I digress as normally, but it's all connected. As I normally do, I'll normally digress, but it's all connected. I usually swing back. So, I wholeheartedly believe this is not the end of the world. So, for those of you that are nervous, and I know there are some, I encountered a nervous person today. Let me tell you what happened. So, I am at a convenience store. It's a gas station convenience store today, April 2nd. Actually, it was April 1st. This is, I'm up late at night recording this. And early morning, I went to the store. I wanted some of them breakfast potatoes, roasted red potatoes with onions and red peppers and green peppers and some seasoning. Had a hankering for those, so I got up before wifey and son got up. They were still asleep when I left. The pets were too. And so I stopped in this convenience store because today was Lotto Day. It was the Lotto. I said, I'm going to give me a couple tickets in the Lotto. And this particular gas station convenience store is ridiculously small. It's probably smaller than most closets. If we're adhering to social distancing guidelines, you can only fit 2 people in here. That's how small it is. So, and that doesn't include the person behind the counter, just the space for customers. 2 people. And they have taped on the floor marks to accommodate social distancing, so we can know where we need to stand, which I think, I don't know, like I said, sometimes I just don't know. Do we need tape on the floor to know how far we need to stand away from each other? Really? So there's this guy, the back wall, there's this drink, refrigerator drink case, where they keep the drinks. Anyway, has glass doors, so he's stocking those. So he's in there and I'm in there in this small space. So this lady drives up, gets out of her car, because you can see through the door, through the glass, and so she stands out she's looking in, she's peeking in, she's peering in, she sees me, she sees the guy stocking, and she's automatically disturbed. She's rattled. I could see it in her face. So, the lady that works there, the customer service person, I've been in this store several times. She is, I don't know, Middle Eastern, of some Middle Eastern descent. Doesn't speak a lot of English. And I've played the Lotto there before, and it confuses her. So she has a little trouble. It takes her probably longer than most people that work there. So she's doing that. The customer service lady's doing that. So it's taking a little while. So maybe 30 seconds had transpired or had passed by. So the lady that's outside, that's troubled, maybe in a rush, maybe she had to pee. I don't try to take anything for granted. But so she opens the door and she leans up against the door. So now the door is open. And there's doors on either side. And like I said, it's a very small space. And she goes, oh my God. Like that. I immediately looked to her because she was to my right. I looked to my right and I said, excuse me? Are you okay? I said, and she says, yeah, how long are you going to be? And I said, I'm not in control of this. I don't know. The young lady is taking care of my transaction. I said, but just relax. Just relax. Just breathe. And her whole demeanor changed. She knew she was amped up. She was wow. She was on edge. And like I said, I never take anything or anybody's demeanor for granted. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know why you like that. All I know is you like that. Okay? And so she says, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So just breathe. I said, we're all going through it. I understand. But as soon as it's done, then you up next. Because it's only me and you here and the guy that's stocking the shelves. So she leaves the door open. She's leaning up against it. It didn't take her maybe 10 seconds. So all of this is transparent. I have not been standing at this counter for 2 minutes yet. And she's like, oh, So the customer service person finally finishes the transaction or finishes, processing my little lottery tickets. And she asked me, is there anything else? And I say, yes, because they have the little scratch-off tickets right there. And I say, give me 2 of these, whatever they were. The lady that was exasperated lost it. Okay? And this is all happening within a 2-minute time frame. She lost it. It's like, oh my God. She just walks away in a fever. And I didn't look at her get in the car, but I know she got in the car because I heard the door go. And she drove off. And I couldn't help but think to myself, if you couldn't wait for less than 2 minutes to get whatever you needed to get from a convenience store because there was one person in front of you, God bless you. If you believe in God, may Jehovah shine upon you, because you ain't gonna make it today. You're going to give yourself a heart attack or a stroke. And like I said, all I can do is say, may good come upon you, because she ain't going to make it. She's not going to make it. Like, as I speak, I don't know where this lady is at. I hope she's okay, because she was on high alert. Like, I guarantee you, if somebody would have popped a cuff on her arm and took her blood pressure, it was probably on 5,000. Because, wow. As I think back on it, she was kind of flush in the face. I truly do hope she's okay. But people are on edge. And I understand it. And people may say, well, Mike, why are you not on edge? Why are you not stressed out? Well, it's just not my MO. If you listen to, you should take a listen to my death, my podcast, my episode on death. I realized mortality and the realistic truth that, the circle of life is real. Before I even saw The Lion King, that we are all going to, it's inevitable. We're going to die one day. And knowing that, I just live my life, one day at a time, try to live my best life, and hope that I have longevity in my life. Longevity runs in my family. So, I hope that I have a good, long life. I hope I'm only halfway there. I hope I'm only half done. Really. I hope I live into 100 plus. That would be fantastic, I think, as long as I have good health and my mind. Gotta have my mind, right? So This is not the end of the world because we've been here before. Humanity, not us personally, but humanity has been here before. So I want you to try and relax. And that's, I know for some it's easier said easier said than done. And even for me, sometimes I have to practice these things as well. But if I can give you one thing, the only thing I can really give you is a tool to calm yourself. And if you get into this, it really works. And I want you to do this with me. I'm going to do it first, and then I want you to do it with me, okay? And it's very simple. And you can do it anywhere, in your car, in the bathroom, even if your kids are crawling on you. You can do this, okay? Breathe in through your nose. Hold it. And out through your mouth. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. Simple. People use it in meditation, yoga, acupuncture, and a variety of other things. It's a very effective tool. And if you think about it, that is what you do when you sleep. You deep breathe when you sleep. For some that snore, I mean, you go. If you think about how you breathe when you sleep, it is an exercise in deep breathing, and it's on autopilot. You're on autopilot, deep breathing. So when you do that consciously, it's restorative. It can bring calm to you, and it can help you. And of all the things that I can give you, because I want to help during this pandemic, and even when it's not a pandemic, I would like to make this world a better place. And I think that is an effective tool, especially during this pandemic, because it's still ramping up. And as former President Barack Obama used to say, let's be clear. Let's be clear. This is going to have tremendous ripple effects and is going to permanently affect us. This pandemic is going to change economies, economic statuses of many people. Businesses are going to adjust, and some will not survive. There are going to be educational ripples. There are going to be physiological, psychological, spiritual, you name it. This ripple effect is going to go out and last and continue to ripple. Now, as I said, today's April 2nd that I'm recording this. I don't know when you'll listen, when you may listen to this. Maybe it's the year 2030. You may listen to this. And I wonder, are podcast episodes going to be in the ether forever? I wonder that, Anyway, it's just a side thought. But these ripple effects, as you listen to this, this is still going upward. These ripples will be rippling forever, and the death toll, as the United States President just said yesterday, be prepared for the worst 2 weeks ever. It's going to get horrendous, and they're projecting hundreds of thousands of deaths here in the United States. And that sounds atrocious. Actually, it is atrocious. Definitely more than the horrors of September 11th, 2001. We've already surpassed that as far as a death toll, really. But when you put it in perspective, in comparison to other pandemics and epidemics, we're not even touching the tens of millions that died. I am not insinuating that makes these deaths any better. I talked to old friend of mine today, actually an ex-girlfriend, and we're still friends, have been friends for many years. And she lost someone that she not only knew, but had interacted with, had gone dancing with. And, she was sad today. I wish I could ease everyone's pain and wish death wasn't sad. But when I lost my grandmother, I was devastated. Still am, actually. You just learn to live with the pain. But this is a dude, me, that grew up in the streets of Harlem and the Bronx, and death was a regular thing for me. Okay, I saw death up close in person. It's very personal. Just, I've had many, many instances with blood splattered on me and watched people take their last breath, either in my arms or inches away from them. Okay, so I learned very early about mortality, and I thought I was prepared, but when my grandmother died, there's nothing that can really prepare you when you love someone. I mean, truly love someone. And I truly loved my grandmother. She was like my second mother. She was integral in raising me. So there are people all over our planet right now that are losing people that they love. And whether it's a pandemic, whether it's an accident, whether it's a natural phenomenon like a tornado or natural disaster, or a man-made disaster, or like I said, even if they're on their deathbed and they slowly die from cancer or they're in hospice, that loss feels unbearable. It feels undescribably horrible. You can't get it back. You can't fix it. And you feel powerless. And you feel a level of sadness that is uncommon, But I'm here to tell you, with each second, each minute, day, week, month, and year that passes after that death, the sadness, the pain, the hurt gets more and more livable and accepted by you. And you can begin to live again at some point. I always thought in my head, what would my grandmother want me to do? That helped me a lot. It did. Because she died slowly. I watched her die. She was almost 90. She had all her teeth too. I think that's why my teeth are strong. I've been here over half a century, and I still take a beer bottle top that doesn't twist. I bite it off with my teeth. And all my friends go, dude, how can you do that? I said, because I have strong teeth. It runs in my family. But, she would always say, nothing lasts forever. And my grandmother, Ruby, I still love you. I miss you. And I think I felt compelled to say that. But, she went slowly. So I watched her deteriorate. And when you watch that, it's a painful thing. But I often would think, what would she want? And she had told me, because she knew she was going. She would say, you're going to be all right. You keep living, you do you. But we didn't talk about that a whole lot. But after she passed, I would say, well, what would she want me to do? Because I was hit hard. I was hit hard. So, to anybody that listens to this podcast or knows somebody that's lost someone, or if they've lost someone, there's no solace I can give you at this time. I wish I could hug you and hold you and make the pain go away. But time will help you. And know that. Know that. Corona. My Corona Part 2. That's what this is. Because I did my Corona Part 1. And I felt, I don't know how many Coronas I'm going to do. I just want to offer my opinion and try to help, really. That's really what I want to do. So, in the United States, stimulus has been approved. Many governors are in conflict with the federal level of action. And there are local municipalities suing their own counties. There are businesses that are being closed for the entire month of April, and with the hopes that it doesn't go on. I watch and listen to all of the major outlets, the left-leaning, the right-leaning, the center, all of them. And CNN had a good piece today that just spotlighted one block. And they talked to the business owners, and some of these business owners are nervous. They don't know if they're gonna make it. If they still have to pay rent, and they don't have any customers. Today, or yesterday rather, in Texas, the governor said no school till May. Mind you, the kids usually get out in May. I'm thinking, why didn't you just scrap the whole school year? What happens to these children? All right, imagine you're the decision maker for a state. Do these kids pass? Do you leave everybody back? And, even though they're trying to do coursework online, either way, it's a conundrum, right? It's a dilemma, because if you pass everybody, are you doing a disservice to some of them that wouldn't have made it? Even though the majority do make it, so that's why I'm leaning. I think you should pass everybody. But if you leave everybody back and say they have to repeat the year, that's not fair. You got a whole year of people that will come out into the workforce that are a year behind. But maybe restarting over may help them. Maybe they might be the smartest school year because they had to start over. But then, because the world loves money and idolizes money, it's all about the economic impact. I have got an episode coming up about money, because part of me despises money, and our love of money. But that's another episode. So what do we do with these kids in school? So my sister, love my sister, man, can't wait to get her on the podcast. She needs her own podcast. Actually, she needs a talk show. My sister is that powerful. But my sister is a flight attendant, and all she does is first class. And she's been a flight attendant for a long time. She's traveled all over the planet, and she's tripping because these flights, usually 100, 200 people, 150, 200 people are like 17 people. And people don't want to talk. They just want to sleep. And she said, it's light work. It's light work for her right now. But, I worry about my sister too, because she's flying in these petri dishes. So, being born and raised in New York like my sister are, me and my sister are, or my sister and I are, New York, growing up in New York City is many things. One of the things is, I think you build up a natural toughness to disease because you're exposed. You touch so many surfaces, especially as a kid in New York City. you touch so many surfaces and things, so right now, New York City is the epicenter of the coronavirus in the United States. And the governor there has been running for president through this. I think he's had a lot of exposure. New York is a major city, and if not the capital of Earth, maybe. I know some may argue Paris or Mexico City or other cities, but everybody knows New York is the capital of Earth. Okay, and maybe I'm biased because I was born and raised there. Anyway, so if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. That's what I've heard. But so the epicenter is there, right? And they're saying that everybody else is going to feel what New York is feeling. But when you grow up in New York, you think that you're invincible. New York, you think, is its own planet until you leave it and realize, there's other people and other places out there. And that's because everything is really there. Every nationality, every kind of food, every kind of style, fashion, culture, it's all there. Like, if you needed to find an Asian, Hispanic, black Lilliputian that likes black shoes, has green hair, and sells Aborigines crystals, you could probably find that person in New York City somewhere. And they got what you want. That's all I'm saying. And that was a weird example, but you get the point. But people are dying in New York. As a matter of fact, it's still peaking, as they call it, the curve. The curve is still trending upward. 1,000 people died in the United States today. 1,000 people in one day. So this is ramping up. Now, typically, it's people with underlying health conditions and the elderly. There are young people that are doing it, but the most people, the majority of people that are succumbing to this virus, which is actually SARS-2. Did you know that? This is SARS-2, the novel coronavirus that causes disease COVID-19. And you can look this up yourself. This comes from, I believe, the CDC website. Give me just a second, and I can get it for you, because I was just there. I was talking to somebody. Yeah, that came from the EPA website, and in the first line of the particular page that I'm on, it's pesticide registration. It says List N includes products that meet EPA's criteria for use against SARS-CoV-2, the novel coronavirus that causes the disease COVID-19. So I wasn't even up on that. Okay, that this is SARS-2. So maybe you knew that. I did. Okay, so conspiracy runs amok with this COVID-19, with this novel coronavirus. Was it man-made? Is this biological terror? Is this, as I mentioned, I think in my first one, is this a 1-2 punch? I saw that there was a earthquake. I don't know if it was Utah or somewhere recently, 6.9. And it was the second semi-major, well, I guess 6.9 is pretty major, earthquake in the last week or two. Now, it's April, 4th month. We're supposed to elect a new president, elect a president. We're having presidential elections in the 11th month. 7 months away. The whole 4th month is shut down. So let's say the 5th month, 6 months away. There aren't any primaries going on. Today, one of the presidential contenders, a former vice president, has said the national convention for his party may be in doubt. So, where do we see this going? Where do you see this going? Perhaps some kind of emergency where we can't hold elections and the current president has to stay in power? Perhaps? Arsenio Hall show, my man Arsenio, I don't know him, he ain't really my man, but I supported him. But things that make you say, or things that make you go, could this be a sinister presidential plot to stay in power, perhaps? Never. Egads. I dare think about that. Could never happen. Right? Vladimir Putin, Russia, I think is trying to change the Russian constitution so he can stay in power for another 12 years. So there's that. Coronavirus is here. And right now it is thundering through humanity. But there's hope. There's hope. There are people that have come out on the other side after having had the virus. There are people that had the virus and never had any symptoms. There are quarantines being lifted. There are vaccines being researched and trials happening for those potential vaccines. There are ventilators and respirators and all kinds of actions being taken so we can fight back. But one of the other things aside from breathing you can do, and this is going to sound cliche, it's going to sound silly to some, but think positive. I think there's books and seminars and motivational speakers that all talk about the power of positive thinking. It's real. They even had this thing called The Secret. It's a big thing. Books and movies and CDs and all kinds of stuff. I have personally witnessed someone with a strong will to live not succumb to their mortal wounds or their inflictions. I have seen a pregnant mother will her kid to have dimples. The mind, which they say we only use it's 10% or 30%, maybe a third. Our brain is powerful. Our will, our thoughts, how you approach a situation, how you feel and think about a situation can affect it. Have you ever noticed something like that? I have never had this feeling with a cell phone, but I'm old enough to remember landlines, when the phone was physically connected from your house through copper wire underground to the next one. Like, that's how that worked. And I remember being able, on certain instances, unsolicited, unprovoked, knowing that the phone was about to ring before it rang. Does anybody else remember that? Or deja vu, like the feeling that you get caught in a moment and you can smell, hear, like all your senses are alerted and ignited with that moment, and you try to catch it, and you know what's coming next, but it lasts briefly. That deja vu, that overwhelming feeling. Perhaps history is true. You know, we were mystical, magical creatures. When did we lose it? When did we lose it? Maybe there's a spell that could be cast. Wouldn't that be something if the pharmaceutical companies nowadays are the modern day warlocks and medicine men per se, and maybe even witches, that they're casting spells and putting them in pill form, and they can cure you. Okay, maybe that's a stretch, but you know, natural things. I think everything here on this earth, you know, my wife regulates her menstrual cycle with seeds, and I'm not even playing. This is real. I've watched her through this whole transformation and trial and error. She should really write a book, and I don't know if she's a witch. If she is, she's a good witch. But like flax seeds, chia seeds, this, and she synced it up with the moon cycle. And my wife wasn't 10 years ago. She wasn't like regular. She had some issues. Now, whoop, she's regular, and she's right, and it was miraculous. You know, miraculous. Now, before I go on, I want to just take a moment here. I don't have any sponsors. I'm 10 days out, okay, and I get it. But people, wow, I keep looking at these analytics, and people are listening like all over the world, and this is amazing to me, and I'm loving it. But I would like your support. I'd also like your feedback and comments. I would like you to like, subscribe, follow, and all of that stuff. I'm going to eventually, reluctantly, set up a Twitter, I guess, whatever people are doing these days. But you can email me, and I'm going to put this in the show notes for this show, as well as everything else I'm going to mention right here. But you can email me at mikesopinionshow@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you, and I'd like it all to be positive. I really would. But if you have some suggestions, feel free to tell me that too. So that's mikesopinionshow@gmail.com. MikesOpinionshow@gmail.com. I almost forgot how to spell opinion. So mikesopinionshow.com. And in the show notes as well, if you want to really support me financially, because I am self-employed and I am affected directly by this pandemic and work stoppages. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, that's what I have right now, and they'll be in the show notes, so please take a look if you want to support me. It would be greatly appreciated if you can. But please, I would like other people to hear this. I would like to think I'm doing something positive, and even if it's just sharing my opinion, if it's even remotely entertaining and can take someone's mind off of whatever's happening in their life right now, I'm trying to affect the world positively. And I know some of my stuff is just some of the things that I think and say, and my opinion is not in line with some other people's, or maybe yours. But I mean well. I honestly do. And we all have opinions. This just happens to be mine. So, back to pandemic. SARS-2, novel coronavirus, causes COVID-19. If you are listening to this, if you've stumbled across my podcast and you are quarantined or laid up or suffering, even if it's not just from COVID-19, feel my energy. I know this sounds corny, but my hands are up. And I would like to push my energy through this microphone to you. And know that nothing lasts forever. I sincerely hope you get through this. And the people that you love get through this. And I hit the microphone, I'm sorry. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was the universe. Maybe that vibration will make you feel better. If it does, let me know, because we can do it. I have thought about this and I've seen other people do it, but it's been suppressed because I think there's a power in collective thought. Hypothetically, what are there, 6 to 8 billion people on the planet in drought-stricken areas? Imagine if we can get 10 million people to simultaneously think about rain in this region. Could it happen? Could we make that happen with the power of the mind? And if we could, if we prove that, imagine what we could do. But if it has been proven and the powers that be don't want us to have that power, imagine if that's true too. Maybe my podcast will now suddenly get suppressed because I'm even entertaining that thought. You know? I don't know. I just, I really just would like utopia. You know what I'm saying? I would really like utopia for all of us. Right now in the United States, the death toll is over 5,000. And, recently in Florida, March, you got March Madness, big college thing. Spring break is also a huge, huge college thing. Not even just college, but that's where most people partied. I know I did. Good times. But I did something horrible one spring break, and it wasn't the act that I did. It was because I happened to be in Florida for my daughter's birthday, and the night before her birthday I decided to go party in Panama City, Florida. There was a movie release party going on, and I don't want to mention any names, but let's just say a particular star of the movie, lovely female, and I connected. And I need to tell the whole story. And this was during the spring break, because my daughter's birthday is in March. And I didn't get back to her mother's place, my ex-wife's place, until the wee hours of the morning, and I was still drunk. And anyway, I could have been a better dad. I've apologized to her. She's accepted. And we've moved on. But spring break is the time where people, young people, collegiate people, do things that they will regret later. But at the time, it seems like it's right. They're there to have fun. So, as any of us that either have been young or are young know, you can't tell us nothing when we're that age, right? You can't tell me nothing. I'm going to do what I want to do. And that's exactly what happened. They was like, pandemic, schmandemic. I'm going to the beach and I'm going to drink beer. Well, guess what? They didn't engage in social distancing. Like, can you imagine, for those of us that are maybe long in the tooth, can you imagine being like spring break is canceled when you've been looking forward to it? you know, and there's all kinds of sex and hijinks and drinking and drugs and partying and all those things. And the opposite of social distancing usually happens during spring break. There are a lot of bodies that collide in one way or another, and they said, we're going. You're not stopping our spring break. And now many of them sadly have the coronavirus. And that's probably, for people that exude symptoms, because this virus, this invisible pirate known as SARS-2 that gives us COVID-19 sometimes doesn't even give you symptoms. You could be carrying it and think you're fine, and you are, but you're passing it unknowingly. Think about this virus, just like for a second, in actual terms, in terms of what is it? It's invisible. There's a movie out, a redo of The Invisible Man. This virus has invisibility. It could be on something we touch, then touch our face. Now, a sneeze, depending on the light, you might be able to see the spray from that sneeze. But even that is slight. A cough, really can't see it. Right? This is an invisible monster that is spreading itself. Supposedly originated in Wuhan, China, and now, in a matter of weeks, is around the entire earth. Think about the power of that virus, of a virus. Contagion, a contagious virus. So, I think that's amazing when you think about it. This invisible killer and sickener, that lurks amongst us, among others. The flu is still out there, okay, amongst a myriad of other things that continue to spread. But once again, I am optimistic and I choose to think positive. Humans are resilient. This is not the first pandemic, and most likely not the last. It's not the last. So, humans being who they are, the nation's doctor, the nation's top coronavirus expert, has had to beef up his security. You know why? Because people have been giving him death threats. Humans, what you gonna do with them? Some of us humans just, wow. This doctor is being a doctor, and people want to kill him because he's telling them things that they don't want to hear. But all of these aspects of the virus are just crazy. In the Philippines, the Philippine president said, beat people down if we have problems. It goes on and on and on and on and on. The ripple effects. At one point, I don't want to watch the news or hear any of the news, but you have to, right? You have to be responsible and take that information for what it is, and then do your own research. Yeah. You have to do that. I would like to just take a moment to thank you for taking time during this pandemic to listen. I hope there's some things you can take from this, and it'll affect you and yours positively. That is truly my hope. So, I would like you to say a couple of things with me. Okay? Repeat after me. We will get through this. We will get through this. Thank you. And that's because we will. And I'd like you to breathe with me. Okay? One more time. Let's go. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now I'm doing this with my eyes closed. If you're in a place, don't do that don't close your eyes if you're driving. Pull over if you need to. And do this often. Treat yourself too. And I mean that piece of fudge, that book you've been wanting, let's treat ourselves. Let's be good to ourselves. And our children. These children, these kids are living through a pandemic and their worlds have been upside down. And the parents, I know it's hard, I have realized, and some people who remain nameless, they struggle at being around their kids this much. And I don't think they like their kids that much. And kids sometimes do unlikable stuff. You love them, but sometimes you don't like them because they're just kids and they do kid stuff. Kids sometimes can be inconsiderate at best. But parents, hug them more. You have this opportunity to love your kids more, to get close to your kids. Make lemonade out these lemons. Okay? I know. I've raised children and I'm in the middle of doing it again. And yes, it's easy to focus on the negative when you want peace, or you haven't had sleep, or you're tired, or you're trying to get some work done, and they are on you and they're loud and they don't care what you're doing. They want you to focus on them. Focus on them now. I get it. Woo-sa! That moment. Serenity now. Do your deep breathing. Tell them, give you a moment. I know we use these electronic devices more than we should, and we all know they're getting grossly abused right now. And I worry about those developing eyes and minds spending so much time on these brightly lit screens and the software manipulating their minds. That is going to be another episode. However, if you can read an old-fashioned book. I know for some people that's just not what they do, right? A book that you turn pages, you shut off everything electronic. Like, I don't mean kill the power to your residence or your apartment or wherever you live, because you need your refrigeration and probably your climate control. But TVs and radios and podcasts even. Not until you finish this one though. But and just take an hour or two of unelectronic stimulation. And I couldn't think of a way to form that word, but non-electronic stimulation. That's what I really want to say. And hopefully you live in a place that is quiet. I know New York, growing up in New York, it's never quiet, but you learn to tune that out. The street noise, the sirens, the honking, the yelling, just the noises that the New York City has, or any major metropolitan area, metropolis. But just read a book. How about write together, draw together, do some crafts, take good long looks at your children. Even if you're an uncle or an aunt or a grandma or a grandparent or a great grandparent, let's help these children. and be honest with them. I'm not going to tell you how to parent your kid. I'll tell you what I do with mine. I am delicately and tactfully honest. Mine is still in the single digits. He knows there's a virus going on. He knows there's a pandemic. And I didn't tell it to him in alarming terms. I told it to him as in matter-of-fact terms. And he's handling it. He's not burdened. If we took today's kid, 2020, the year 2020, against, say, an 1820 kid, the 1820 kid would stomp the 2020 kid. Now, maybe physically and just because of the things they had to deal with in 1820. Now, one may think that the 2020 kid may be more crafty, more intelligent, and be able to manipulate the situation. But if you're in a field with a snake, I don't care how crafty and intelligent you are, you need that snake experience to get through that. So, I think the 1820 kid was tougher. That's my opinion. I'm Mike, and this is Mike's opinion. So that is my opinion. I think we've gotten soft society, the comforts of society. We're still tough enough, though. Our children are still tough enough. But I'm saying that to say, toughen them by giving them the truth. Tell them the truth, but with tact, with love, and in a way that doesn't frighten them, but they can understand it. We have to prepare our children for the future. And man, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, 2120, what will it be like? 2220. Will we have made it a better place? Either way, they have to be prepared to face it. Technological challenges, diseases, pandemics, epidemics, man-made and natural disasters, all the challenges that are ahead. We have the opportunity to contribute to that foundation for our children right now, while we are home with them, while we are in our faces. And a lot of us parents will just go, here's this electronic device, get out of my face, come and eat, then get out of my face. But do something different. Take this time to hug your kid, love your kid, interact with your kid, be patient with your children during this pandemic. Utilize this time to invest in your child. It's not easy, I get it, but you can do it. You can do it. Again, I truly ask for your support, and I thank you for listening to Mike's Opinion. I'm Mike. Stay safe.
Thank you so much for listening to Mike's Opinion. Logic Unleashed.